Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday from my squeaky chair. I don't know what's going on with this chair. Every time I sit on it for more than a few hours, it starts squeaking. Maybe that says something about my weight. Anyway, hope you guys are doing well. Let me just make sure. Yeah, that's a good question. I think we might do the tickers today because I think tomorrow, I'm just not yet sure about tomorrow. I'll get to it. I'm supposed to go to a conference tomorrow morning, and I really don't want to not go because it's really important. So maybe we'll do tickers here today as well. So anyway, good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Serge Berger here from SteadyTrader.com. This is our Set the Market morning call. We're going to spend the next 10 to 15 minutes going through some things on our notepad. If you're here for the first time, as always, please make sure that you subscribe to our channel. It's free. You get updated in real time when we go live with things and have analysis and stuff like that. Also, every time you watch a video, please give us a thumbs up like, including this one here right now. Any comments you could leave would help us as well. We need to be able to keep this stream alive, and we can only do that if the algos start picking it up. So, any thumbs up, likes, and or comments, and certainly subscribing to the channel would help us a lot. So thank you for that in advance. All right, quick housekeeping note. As I just mentioned, we have tomorrow morning. I'm supposed to go to a conference, really important one. I don't want to not go, so I'd prefer to skip tomorrow, set the market morning call, and pick back up on Monday. Remember, we do this Monday through Thursdays usually, so not on Fridays. And tomorrow, of course, being Thursday. So I don't know yet for sure if we don't do set the market tomorrow. But I would say let's today take tickers if anyone has any tickers to go through, just to be safe. Okay. So let's get started. Quick reminder, and I've got my screen over here now, so I have to totally look the opposite direction, which is a little bit annoying. But anyway. I want to quickly remind everybody that assets that rally strongly, if you look at your screen, like gold miners, which are still up, 115% year to date, they at some point will correct, right? And as you guys have heard me talk about this over the past 2 months, something like that. We said that at some point gold is going to pause and correct, and actually did, by the way. We'll look at gold in a minute, but this is just a reminder of the performance, right? The trends remain intact. And so, it's just only natural for something like uranium and gold miners and gold and all these things to correct. And we'll talk about gold and maybe why the correction's happening, or at least the pause in the, so far. We'll talk about that here in a bit. So I'm making a note on that because I see some comments in that. Okay. So that's number one. Then I wanted to touch on the calendar quickly. Now, this morning we have obviously Netflix has maybe not obviously, but Netflix is gapped down. So that's something to watch today. But really, looking towards next week, I'm gonna quickly just open up the calendar just so you guys can kind of see what's going on. But next week, first of all, we have an economic calendar that hopefully, will be able to come to fruition, given the government is, at least right now, shut down. But I think regardless, we should get on Wednesday next week, we should get a Fed meeting. So that'll be next Wednesday, the 29th, and we're going to get probably more economic data. Again, presuming that at some point the government will reopen before long. I don't know. I'm just saying. And also we have a lot of tech companies reporting earnings, right? So if you look into next week, so again, next Wednesday is when really kind of the shit gets real, excuse my language. And so I think that's what markets are looking forward to. A lot of people are hedging out to next week in terms of their book, from people I've been speaking to, including myself. Earnings calendars, quickly looking towards next week, just so you guys can see this as well. So let's go towards next week would be 28th, 29th, right? So for example, next week on the 29th, again, the same day that we have the Fed meeting, we get Microsoft, Google, Meta, right? And then real economy stuff like Starbucks and Caterpillar and Boeing, oil companies like Phillips 66. I mean, just a crazy amount of earnings. It's all happening next week, right? So if you watch the markets closely and you kind of look at the market through the lens of when are there catalysts that could, move markets in whatever direction, next week's a big one, right? So if you have a calendar, I'm assuming all of you guys have a calendar at home somewhere, make a huge circle around next week because that's really when things are supposed to happen. Also, we're supposed to have maybe this Trump-Xi meeting. I have no idea. It's being floated. I don't know if it's happening. I'm just saying it's all happening next week. So big week next week. In the meantime, we're dealing with a few stocks that keep breaking out. We'll look at Apple and GM here in a second. I've got them already on my calendar here, on my notepad, I should say, to discuss. Before we start looking at single name stocks and we start looking at gold, I want to quickly bring something up that my colleague Christian just put into the chat room, and everyone say hi to Christian and Joel as well. Joel's in here as well. I think a lot of you guys know Joel. Christian just put a link into the chat box here for this week's strategy session. In our strategy session series, this week we talk about income generation, generating income, and income strategy using options. For those people that enjoy the idea of generating income in a portfolio with options, that will be a great session for you to attend. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there. So you can sign up for that. It's free. Just come and learn some stuff. Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. The link is in the chat box right now, so you can go ahead and get signed up for that. All right, let's talk about a couple of stocks. First of all, we'll talk about Apple. Okay, so we'll start with the absolute charts first, and then we'll start looking at momentum and what our trending indicators are saying as well. So first of all, with Apple, what's most important to me to understand is that the trend has changed. Okay, so Apple's move has now turned Apple with, this is using our trend following work. It's called the market rover for those of you guys that are using it. If you're not using it, you probably should use it to know when major trends start or end. The green background color on the chart you're looking at right there is what now Apple is in, which is a bullish trend. Now, keep in mind that this company has earnings to report on, I believe on Halloween, on the 31st of October. Anyone excited for Halloween? I just bought some outfits actually last night on Amazon. Anyway, Apple. So it's a new bullish trend. Now, that does not mean the stock can't, that does not mean the stock has to skyrocket from here to eternity. It just means a new bullish trend. Now, again, it's got earnings coming up, so keep that in mind. So what does that mean? What to do? Well, first of all, I can't give you advice. I can only give you education here through the lens of what we do here at thesteadytrader.com. But what I can tell you is that I probably wouldn't be going short Apple right now, neither from a trading perspective, and certainly I wouldn't be doing anything through the earnings report, right? So I would wait for the earnings report to come out. If the earnings report comes out well, everything looks rosy, then it might be an opportunity to build a position from more of an investing perspective in something like Apple, right? So that's how we would look at that. So this is Apple here, just on a pure chart, right? So I'm going to give you a little bit of a longer term look at this so you can kind of see. So Apple really hasn't done anything since basically all year. Like literally, it's flat. It's like up a few percent on the year. So it's possible that this leads to a next leg higher. I would wait for the earnings report to come out and then see if you feel like you're risk tolerant enough to put on a position. Then maybe from an investing perspective, not a trading perspective. I personally don't hold trades through earnings. I think that's a total coin flip. So anyway, that's that. From a shorter term perspective, again, keep in mind earnings are coming up for Apple. From a shorter term perspective, we need to understand what's momentum doing in the stock, right? And for that, we use our TSD Trender momentum indicator, and I'm going to bring it over here so you guys can see it as well. From a momentum perspective, the stock remains in bullish momentum. You can see the last signal we received from a momentum perspective in Apple was a buy signal on the 7th of August. Since then, the stock is up 20, 19% or so. So it hasn't at all flipped to a bearish momentum signal. In fact, it's still bullish momentum. So that's probably the best way I would answer that. What about GM? So General Motors had a big move. Let me quickly, yesterday, right? So everyone's chart chasing it. That's not what we do, because that's not going to make you money over the course of time. It's going to blow up your portfolio. But General Motors, just to give you some perspective on the chart, looks like this, okay? So this is your chart of General Motors. And of course, the question is at some point this chart going to resolve to the upside, right? That's basically what everyone is asking. That's asking for General Motors. I'm going to have to make the assumption that at some point it will. The question is, what's the time frame? So once again, it's important for us using our process here is to understand where is General Motors in terms of its trend. Is there a trend, number one? And number two, is there momentum, right? So to answer the first question, we're going to look at our market roller for trend. And I'm just getting this all ready. So General Motors looks very interesting here from that perspective. So here is General Motors. Let's start with the trend, okay? You can see a green background color. That big green background color in General Motors started in September. So far, the stock is up about 15% since then. So General Motors is in a bullish trend, right? Trend is the longer term stuff, multi-quarter, at least multi-month, more like multi-quarter, maybe multi-year. That's your trend in General Motors, okay? The momentum, right, which is the shorter term thing, looks like this. So you can see how, let me quickly adjust this so it has the proper settings. So what you can see here is, actually let me quickly refresh this. Apologies, 1 second. So this is our Trender Swing Pro, which by the way, we have a session on this afternoon for those people that want to get momentum signals fed to them every single day. So here's General Motors. You can see we had a momentum buy signal that came in June. The stock then rallied as much as 25%. Then we had a momentum sell signal that reached its free profit target. And we now have a brand new momentum buy signal. So on the back of yesterday's move, there's now fresh momentum to the upside in General Motors. We have a free profit target around $68. That's typically where we'd want to take an initial position off. That's just a risk management exercise. So that should address the questions on GM. That should address the questions on Apple. Last one real quick before we go into Netflix, and I do want to touch on gold again. I have a bunch of things I want to update you guys on gold for as well. Let me just quickly go in here. So there's a question on MU, which of course is Micron Technology. So let's talk about all this. Okay, so first of all, Micron Technology, first of all, let's understand when these guys report earnings. That's very, very important to understand, right? So let's see, when is Micron reporting earnings? Because without that, we can't even consider any potential trades. So they reported their numbers. In fact, did they just report numbers this morning? Or no, let me see. No, I think they're off cycle, aren't they? Give me 1 second. This is embarrassing. When is MU? Because the next earnings report is, according to this, in December. Yeah, that's right. They're off cycle, right? So they reported in. They reported a few weeks ago, of course. Yeah, exactly. I remember that now. Sorry, a lot going on here. Anyway, so let's understand where's MU. Okay, so first of all, MU from a trending perspective, right? It's in a bullish trend. You can see it turned into a bullish trend. Again, that's your multi-quarter, multi-month at least sort of view. So the trend is bullish, right? It became bullish trend in early August. The stock is so far up about 84%. 84 freaking percent, right? Insane, but it is what it is. From a momentum perspective, right? So that's your near-term momentum. Let's see what's going on there. From a momentum perspective, nothing new. The momentum remains intact. We got a momentum buy signal on August 12th. The stock is up 66% since that momentum buy signal. So is this the stock that I would chase up here given next week's mega cap tech earnings? No, I wouldn't. But the momentum is there. The trend is there. So, that's good, right? I personally wouldn't be buying the stock up here. Maybe if we get a new momentum buy signal upon a pullback, that's my view. The momentum buy signal came in August, not now. That's again 66% ago and 84% ago from the trend. So if you're into chart chasing, you're gonna have a pretty short career in trading. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Okay, let's talk about Netflix. Okay, now Netflix is typically a big mover. This morning it's down about 7 or something percent pre-market. It's currently trading just around. Let me bring it up here. Just had it over here a second ago. Netflix is trading pre-market. It's an expensive stock, right? In absolute price terms, it's trading about $1,150. So let me just quickly give you into perspective what that is. $1,150. So that's not surprisingly right at the low end of the range. By the way, if you're a TradeOps member, I posted this chart into TradeOps yesterday, and I said that most likely Netflix is going to resolve this sort of consolidation phase here. We can draw these lines 1,000 different ways. Let's kind of draw them like this. And I think it will resolve this consolidation phase. Whether it's to the downside or to the upside, I don't know, and I don't really care. But we'll see. Right now, Netflix is trading right at the low end of this range, $1,150. I don't think it's a time to press shorts. I think we need to see I would give this some time this morning. I would give it at least an hour or so, see how the stock reacts. There may be chart chasing machines coming in and pushing it right back higher. We'll see, right? This is not the kind of stock I want to get involved with right away. You want to give it some time. At least that's my view. Last but not least, we have to talk about gold. We came into yesterday and we talked about that Vertical X Pro extreme overbought signal in gold. We've talked about it since that big run up that started in August. I kept telling people, I'm still long some gold. Now I ended up selling the last third of my investment gold positions about a week and a half ago, or something like 2 weeks ago at this point maybe, because I thought it was too steep. I'm looking to get re-involved in gold from an investment perspective, before long, I'm going to presume here. But I think yesterday's move, which came on the back of our Vertical X Pro indicator, telling us that the gold is extremely overbought near term for the next at least, number of days, likely a few weeks, maybe a few months. It's entirely possible. And so this basically gold is now in a position where it might consolidate. What's the consolidation range look like? I have no idea. What I can tell you is that we have a reference point that the absolute high is 4,370 or something like that. So I'm going to have to make an assumption that gold is going to spend some time in a consolidation period like this. Again, I don't know what the low end of that consolidation period looks like. I think the higher end, we can make a safe assumption, at least for today, that we know where the higher end is of that. I don't know how low it can go on the downside, but I think gold is going to consolidate here. Again, it remains bullish trend. So this is where we use our market rover process, right? We use the trend. So gold, again, despite that pullback that we saw yesterday, the bullish trend is absolutely undeterred. That's the green background color. There's no reason not to respect the trend. Again, I chose to liquidate all my gold over the past basically 2.5 months because I bought it when the trend started in early 24, actually in late 23 even. But I'm going to get re-involved personally, just me. So that's where gold is right now. Again, the Vertical X Pro gave us an absolute beauty of an overbought indicator signal that we talked about yesterday. And so that's probably same thing with silver. Dave, no difference. Look, okay, so let me try to explain this. I'm going to give you this chart here. So let's have a look at, and I sold all my silver 2 weeks ago at this point. I just didn't want to participate because when these things correct, they're going to correct sharply, right? So silver over the past few days is down, what, 10, 15% or so? Yeah, 10%, right? The real risk here with gold and silver is that I'm trying to explain this to you. I'll best show it to you on gold, okay? The gold rally, that last leg, this is our view and our what our sort of indications are. This last leg in August that started basically right after Powell turned dovish at Jackson Hole. The initial move might have been machine driven or something like that. What ended up happening though, especially the past 3-4 weeks is maybe algorithms, but a lot of retail start getting involved. And when I see retail, standing lines around, their local gold pawn shop and buying GLD ETFs, I typically do the exact opposite, right? So my concern is that if the equity market has a risk-off moment here, gold has turned into yet another Momo stock, another FOMO, Momo, pie in the sky, you only live once, idiotic kind of trading vehicle, right? And that's what this last leg was, in my view. So we don't want to chase that because we're going to get neutered along the way. So what we really want to do is respect the trends, right? So again, the trend didn't start now. The trend started when we made a massive freaking deal about it in early 2024. We talked about it to the point where I got sick of it sometimes talking about it. I'm sure other people did. That's when the trend started. So getting involved now is just dumb, or not bad reward to risk. I don't want to sound nasty. The trend or momentum indicator has giving us a ton of buy signals along the way, right? So even if all I want to do is trade, that latest signal came in August, not now. And of course, now we have gold extremely morbidly overbought according to our vertical X Pro indicator, which I showed you before, right? So that's the process. So the more we can get away from a FOMO, chart chasing approach, the more we have longevity in markets. That's my concern all along. I think a lot of people, unfortunately, don't know any better, because we've had this for 15 years, but having a process really helps. So anyway, I hope this is helpful. I feel like this was another productive session here today. We went very long, almost 25 minutes here today. So we may do the Set the Market tomorrow, but we might not. I'm gonna have to go to a conference. Please give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this show. Please subscribe to the channel. It's still free. And spread the word. And again, if we're back here tomorrow, you'll see it pop up for a live stream. Otherwise, we'll see you guys back here this coming Monday, and I'll have a lot of updates from the conference along as well. So have a great day, and if you're a TradeOps member, we'll see you in a few minutes over in TradeOps. Take care. Oh, and by the way, also, if you want to join us with this week's strategy session, this is important. Okay, actually, two more things. This week's strategy session starts tomorrow, and it's about using options for income. If you are in TradeOps, okay, which is our members area, if you're in TradeOps this morning, we're going to send you an invite to a link. It's to a thing that's very special. That's going to happen this Friday. You'll want to join that. It's going to be so awesome. That's something I've been working on with colleagues. I've been helping out someone with this. You want to see this. So in TradeOps, in our members area, we're going to post a link in there for Friday. So look forward to that, and I'll see you guys there. Take care.